We are live. I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of Heart to Heart with Bree. And tonight, Andrew is back with us. Andrew, would you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast, our Heart to Heart podcast. Again, my name is Angie Green. I will be your co host the first Sunday in each month. And in the event that there are 5 Sundays, I'll, I'll rejoin you on that fifth Sunday. So, again, we're just here to have a discussion, to talk about the Lord, to share our joy of being a Christian, and hoping to have a dialogue with you to answer whatever questions you, the viewership, may have.
Yeah, well, tonight we'll be discussing the No Buy Challenge. I
Hmm.
reached out to you at the end of last year to
Yes.
let you know this is a topic that I wanted us to cover.
Right.
And
Right.
what I'll share with the viewers is that, random videos will show up on your feed. And a
Hmm.
video showed up on my YouTube feed. So I watched it and it was talking about a no buy challenge.
Hmm.
So she was encouraging her viewers, a young lady, I forgot her name. She was
Hmm.
encouraging her viewers for the month of January
Okay.
not to spend any money frivolously.
Mm.
Of course, you purchase groceries,
Right.
you
Yeah.
purchase, your necessities like your
Mm.
toiletries.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
she said, of course, you pay your bills. I'd like
Right.
to welcome Mikey Go. Thank you so much for tuning in, Mikey.
Hi.
And I
Hi.
remember thinking to myself, wow, for the whole month of January, can I do
Hmm.
this?
Mm.
So I'm glad I had a couple months to prep myself mentally to do this challenge.
Right. Right.
But, you know, I got a lot out of this challenge. And
Okay.
I'm so thankful that I did it because
Hmm.
it taught me a lot about my spending habits.
Right.
It
Right.
taught me a lot about why I was spending.
Hmm.
Now, I I think I'm careful with money, but
Hmm.
what I learned was that I was able to that I could be more careful.
Right.
You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
there were purchases that I made that were not necessary. Now, I'm not
Hmm.
saying don't buy things. I love to shop. I do.
Hmm. Hmm.
But it's not something that I have any business doing on a regular basis.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
one of the biggest things I found out about myself was that, my online purchases, they were like a pick me up. You know,
Hmm.
I'm feeling bored. I feel a little sad. I feel
Hmm.
whatever. Oh,
Hmm.
let me see what's in my cart
Hmm.
and start going through. And it's like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get that. And every
Right.
day
Right.
when I come home from work, well, not every day, but
Yeah.
every week, several packages.
Right.
There
Right.
was something about seeing that little box outside my
Mm.
door.
Mm. Yeah.
But but it did
Hmm.
not change my life necessarily,
Hmm.
didn't always enhance my life. Now, there are
Right.
some purchases like my books. I've
Hmm.
bought some really wonderful books, and I
Hmm.
see those as an investment in myself,
Right. Right.
especially the devotional books and the
Hmm.
books that I can read again, because
Right.
when you read them the second time, you get a little more out of it,
More. Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I came to the understanding that I don't have to spend money unnecessarily.
Hmm.
I can put off certain purchases that are not
Hmm.
necessary.
Hmm.
It's okay to like something, it's okay to leave it in my cart for another time.
Right.
So when the month of January was up, I
Hmm.
was like, wow, this was really interesting. I
Hmm. Hmm.
found that I was paying my credit card debt down a little better. I was
Okay.
making
Good.
more than the minimum payments.
Hmm. Hmm.
I was so it helped me to see that, you know what, you may think that, okay, I don't make 100,000 a year, but
Hmm.
what you make can go further than you would
Hmm.
even believe if you stop making unnecessary purchases.
Exactly.
fast food and things of that nature that are
Mm-hmm.
not necessary. So
Mm-hmm.
what I decided to do come February was, okay, I will set a limit on
Mm-hmm.
my online spending. And
Right.
that limit is like $100. And I'm
Okay.
like, if but what I find myself doing now is every time I make a purchase, I'm asking myself, do I need it or do I want
Mm-hmm.
it? You
Right.
know, and that's made a big difference because it's
Right.
like a couple times when I was almost ready to purchase, and it's like, are you bored? Are you sad?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you purchasing this?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
the connection that I made is that material things they don't fulfill your life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you may feel good for a little while.
Right.
There are some purchases that are really great that you just can't beat them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really at a point now where, because we live in a society where it's about materialism,
Right.
and it's like I realize that it's time to put that behind me. So I'm going to read a couple scriptures and I'm going to get right into the questions. And for
Mm-hmm.
the viewers, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to share them.
Right.
And this is for the viewers to get them thinking about their
Mm-hmm.
spending habits. I'm
Right.
not telling anyone not to shop, but we're living in times where I think we really need to stop and think about things, and wisdom needs to be a part of our financial journey. That's my belief.
Right.
So, Proverbs 10:4, lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that, what I thought about was all these the get rich quick schemes that's out there, people wanting something for nothing or minimal
Right.
effort.
Mm-hmm.
We have to
Mm-hmm.
think twice about these things. And
Right.
then
Right.
Proverbs 22:7,
Mm-hmm.
the rich rule over the poor, and the
And
borrower
for
is
the
slave
slave
to the lender,
to the
right?
lender. Yeah. That's
Credit
a good
card
one.
debt, credit card debt is
Yeah.
slavery.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
slavery.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
slavery. So
Yeah.
I love that one. So
Yeah.
my first question for you, Andrew, is
Mm.
why do we spend?
Why do we spend? Wow. So quickly before I even answer that, so when you brought this to me, like I said at the end of last year, at the beginning of this year, I looked at it, but I really didn't look into it, because I was already prepping for uh, the present podcast.
Yes.
But then when I got around to it, I'm like, what exactly is this that Brie is sending me? I'm like, I've never heard of this. You know, and then I went online and I saw the YouTube, right? And I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I mean, I was like, is this a new thing? Is like, um,
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I was like, how come I didn't hear about this? And then, uh, right in last week, my my sister-in-law um, sent me a post inviting me to join a no and a no buy on February 28th,
Okay,
right?
that was the one. Yeah, I know the one that you're talking. Yes, yes.
Right. I guess that was more for African Americans in
Right. That
general.
was like a political statement, which
Right.
yes.
Yeah. And then I'm like, wow. I'm like, so I saw yours and then I saw her post, and I'm like, wow, this thing really has some dimensions to it. It's not just personal. Like I could now see how it could really, span, across the board. I'm like, this is powerful. I really
Yes.
have to do a deeper dive in it, and I was so appreciative um, of the topic. And then what I saw when my sister-in-law posted it, I'm like, this is this is healthy. This is healthy in so many ways,
I
right?
agree.
You know, you could feel, you know, for that person that is feeling hopeless, and then coupled with what happened with uh, the new political party, the new government,
Yes.
right? And I'm like, wow, Valentine's Day, hundreds of thousands of people instead of celebrated with their loved
Losing their
ones.
jobs. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm like, I'm like, this is crazy. This is just crazy. So yes, I really just wanted up front to say thank you for bringing this to me. Very timely, very good. So again, now the question was, um,
Why do we spend?
why do we spend it? So you know, there's so many different uh, uh, what would I say now? The thoughts, different groups have different theories on why do we spend. But so like one article that you shared with me. I liked how they sort of like categorized it.
Yes.
You know, when you understand your relationship with money, and you know this is coming from how you were raised, and so what you were exposed to. So you know you will have one group that that views money as evil. You know, people that have money in general, they just want to avoid the whole thing because they just think of money as evil. So typically, they would say that that person would have real bad spending habits. They would not be paying their bills on time. They will just have a really bad relationship with money. And then there's another group that they mentioned where money is more for their internal um, application. So they're spending for self improvement, to feel better about themselves internally, right? Then they went on to explain about the third group, which is so close to the second group, but the third group is spending for external reasons, like the person that just wants to floss, who looks at money as a status symbol. So they want you to see what they have accumulated, right? Because that they equate money and power and status that way through external factors. And the fourth group mentioned their relationship with money was money is to be saved. So they're just accumulating the money. They're not spending it, and that comes with a whole baggage there, because yeah, that person becomes very mean. Their outlook on life, their outlook on other people who are spending, they would look down on those people, right? But then I went and I saw other people talking about money and their relationship, and you have little offshoots where they would say, one person said, there are some people who use money as a tool to make more money. And then you have another group of people, they're saying they're just working to make money to pay their bills. They're just making it to spend it. So those are the big money relationship thoughts, and I'm sure that there are hundreds social study experts. Um, everybody has their own theory on why we spend. And
What
but it,
what I'm hoping for is that this will get people thinking. You know,
exactly
those who when they go, do I need this fast food meal? Do I
right,
really need a new jacket? Do I
mhm,
really need a new purse? Do I
right,
need this new do I need this perfume? And I'm not saying not to treat yourself, but I think
right,
we live in a society like when I was growing up, I didn't
mhm,
grow up eating fast food. And then I
right,
remember a time when like fast food was seen as a treat, like a once a week treat. And
right.
now it's like people are eating this stuff
It's
every
every
day.
day,
It's
exactly.
every day.
It's
There's nothing
DoorDash, yes. It's for
you get
dinner,
like
yeah.
I remember telling my daughter years ago, because my kids would eat ice cream almost every day. And
Hmm.
I remember telling them when I was growing up, we were lucky if we had ice cream once a week for dessert.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah,
remember my daughter looking at me like, are you crazy? But
right, yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, I mean, you get it. It's like the things that used to be special are now just everyday things.
right.
So
Yeah,
the next,
but like you said, in in order to change our spending habits, we first have to recognize
yes,
what our relationship with money is.
yes,
We first have to do a deep dive, uh,
yes,
a retrospective, like why do I do the things I do? What category do I fall in
yes.
first before you know I can even just decide like, okay, a change is needed, because most people, they're just going about their business. They're not, they're just recycling what they have learned from their parents and from their
Well,
neighbors.
it kind of helps me to have a better understanding of, sometimes when you hear about athletes that went broke,
Mm,
athletes that made millions of dollars, people
right.
that won the lottery, they won
Yeah.
millions of dollars and they're
And
broke again. And I
exactly.
think it's about that relationship with money. If
Right.
you're rich,
Exactly.
if you're
Yeah.
poor, if you don't evaluate your relationship with money, then things will never change. So
Right.
I'm hoping this episode will get people thinking. So my next
Yeah.
question, Andrew, is the convenience of using cards. Is is this convenience costly? Personally, I will say yes. I've
Yeah.
gotten into the habit of like when I go to work,
Hmm.
I don't travel around with my credit cards
Hmm.
or my
Hmm.
debit card,
Hmm.
and because it's just so convenient. Now,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I'm not one of those that walks around with cash. It's
Hmm.
very rare for me to have cash.
Hmm.
Cards I think have done that to a lot of people. So
Hmm.
what's your take on that? The
Yeah.
convenience. Is it really convenient?
That, that, for the convenience aspect, I mean, let's look on the bright side first before
Yes.
we demonize it. There's a lot of safety in having that card as opposed to
Yes.
having cash. Um, you could lose the money, but even if you lose the card, the cash is still there. You can just call
Yes.
in and get your card replaced, right? So there are lots of security benefits to not walking around with cash and having the card. So it's very convenient. Um, it's also convenient in the sense that using the card, most all financial institutions run that 30-day cycle on you. So
Yes.
you're getting a statement um, outlining, detailing. Um, with some institutions, you're able to itemize and categorize the the spending. Uh, so so you can actually, if you're financially literate, you can really see where your money is coming in, where it's going. You can really manage your money very well with using a card. So yes, again, there are lots of benefits to it. You know, but on the flip side, Brie, which is what we want to talk about, you end up spending um, unnecessarily. You end up overspending your own financial capabilities, because the credit card is going to give you such a line of credit which far exceeds your weekly income, your monthly income, your yearly income. And without uh, without discipline, without being conscious of what's taking place, you will wake up one day and you're going to be in serious debt, way beyond what you can ever um, repay. So from that standpoint, it's very dangerous. And
I think back to like living in Jamaica and going to
mhm,
the bank. That would be
yeah,
like an all day thing. This was before credit
mhm,
cards and all of
yeah,
that. But you'd be in that line forever. It's almost like let
yeah,
the money just stay in there already, you know?
right, yeah,
And then I
yeah,
think of the convenience of ATMs.
hmm,
I
hmm,
remember when ATMs, when they first came out with the ATMs, and
hmm,
you just go anytime and take your money out.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I remember my youngest son wanted to go to Burger King, and I remember telling him we don't have any money, and
hmm,
he started crying, and he said, "Just go to the thing where the money zooms out." And I told him, I said, "You have to have money to zoom out. It's not free money. He's in his 30s now, but I never
yeah,
forgot that.
right,
I
right,
remember
yeah,
Oprah saying that a lot of kids have the
hmm,
misconception that
right, yeah,
ATMs just give money away. Kids
right,
don't have
yeah,
the understanding of the
yeah,
hard work that it takes
yeah,
for parents to have money in the bank. So
right,
I do
right,
think that financial literacy starts from a young age. I mean,
yes,
should
yes,
we be having this conversation with our children?
yes, that should begin at home. Just like how you would be having family worship, going over, Bible stories. You should simultaneously be having financial literacy with your kids. They're never too young. There are games that you can play with them uh,
Yes.
that will explain money, uh, how we use money, the bartering, the exchange, you know. So it's very important for us as parents to model money management with our kids. I remember, I don't even know if my mom was really even cognizant of it, but she was always in business, and she just got us involved in it, um, and we just did it, and because of that, um, we just grew up with this healthy, I would say, appreciation, on both sides, for the hard work that produces the money, but then um, how to use that money in terms of reinvesting it back into the business, as opposed to, okay, you made this sale $100, you can't just take that $100 and just spend it, because otherwise the business is going to suffer. So all that interconnection was what we learned as kids, because like you said, oh, your son was asking you for money. We were doing the same thing, but then she would stop us and she would explain to us why this money is not, although she made it's not for her to spend, and we
Yes.
can't just have whatever we want because we see this money. So I firmly believe that at the very earliest of age, from their
We should be
walking
having
and
these
talking. Yeah.
conversations. We
Yes. Yeah.
definitely should.
Yeah.
Let's talk about financing lavish lifestyles
Mm,
with credit cards, keeping up
yeah.
with the Joneses, that
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. With all the social media platforms, what we knew growing up as keeping up with the Joneses back then has morphed into a beast now, because now, you're just doom scrolling 24 hours. You're looking at what all these entertainers, athletes, and gurus, and everybody, and even worse, people that are faking their lifestyles
Yes.
on,
Yes.
so it's not just the few real ones, but then you have a whole host of people out there that this is their business, to make you fall in love with their lifestyle, because they're selling you something, right? And they're packaging it into this lifestyle. Which is just fake. And this middle schooler, high schooler, who isn't aware of the fact that all of the backdrop is fake, can really get caught up and get in that very dangerous situation with trying, instead of paying attention in school and learning what they should be learning, they're off the mindset in 12, 13. Why do I need to study? I just need to just post online. That's all I need to do, and I'll just make money.
Yeah.
So it's really competing with their future, and with the future of our society. Because if the younger people aren't studying and aren't replacing the doctors and the lawyers and the clerks and the accountants, the politicians and everything and the teachers, where is that next generation coming from? If all these kids figure that I just have to be a social media, a content provider.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous. But
I definitely agree with you, which leads to my next question. Should we have a financial plan? Now that I'm in my 60s, I definitely see the importance of having a plan. I think we live in a day and age where those who are thinking, oh, my children will take care of me, times have changed. Times have changed. I tell my kids all the time, like when I first moved to this country, you could work at McDonald's and have an apartment and a car. You can be a professional now, and it's hard to do that. So how important is it to have a financial plan, not just a plan that we will stick with?
Right. And looking at it from the Christian and non-Christian, there's some Christians who sort of look down on something like that. They're like, why would I have a financial plan? God is my financial plan. You know what I mean? And to me, that is such a mistake.
That's a foolish way of thinking, and God does not call us to be foolish.
And we can go to, there are many proverbs that even the first one, what that person is doing is saying, I'm just going to be lazy. I'm not going to do my part. Just like the three servants that got the talent, the 5, the 3, and the 1, and so they would be the categorized as the servant that got the 1, who did not bother to invest. They're like, I'm just going to take the easy way out. No, God is our provider, but He is giving us resources for us to be good stewards of. Not for us to look at the resources as being our safety net to replace God, which is a different question, right? But He's given us these resources so that we can share the blessing that He has given us to others, right? So that's how we should look at it. So that's how the Christian should look at financial planning. we should use money as a tool to live our
But when
best.
you say just a Christian, I want the viewers. We're talking about everyone. I mean,
Right, I know, but
everyone. I
I
just want to make sure I put
yeah,
that in there.
yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
but for the non-Christian, right? Um, you should definitely have a financial plan, just like the Christian, right? Because even though where the government is looking to make cuts in our safety net programs. So what our grandfather and father, where they could rely on, Medicare and Medicaid and the pension and Social Security, for this generation, we can sit back and rely on that, because there may be nothing there for us. So we have to make good use the of our working age time, 20 to 60, and use our money wisely and invest that money wisely, so that in our retirement age, we can have a safety net to work with, so that we can pay the bills that are still coming in there. We can have money and resources to go on vacation, to pay for medication, because as you get older, you will be using more and more medication, because that's just how life is. So it is important for all of us to come up with a financial plan.
And if you do not have a plan,
It's
may
never
I
too late.
suggest that you start now. You start
Yeah,
now.
and it's never
Because
too
it's
late.
never
Yeah,
too late.
it
It's
is
never
never
too
too late.
late.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about peace of mind.
Mm,
You
you're right.
know that old saying, hindsight is 2020.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember when I was younger, every time I got paid, I would go shopping.
Me
And
too.
my
Yeah.
mom would get so frustrated with
hmm
me. And
Yeah.
she would always say to me, if
hmm
you get sick, you think the doctor cares you have a nice wardrobe,
Right. Yeah.
and then I got to the point where I would buy new clothes and hide them, trying to put
Mm.
them in the middle in
Uh-oh.
my closet where thinking she
Uh-oh.
wouldn't notice. But
Yeah.
the labels would be still on them,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tags, price tags rather,
Yeah. Yeah.
still be
Yeah.
on them. And she would
Yeah.
always tell me I had no children, I
Mm.
wasn't married. You
Mm.
should be saving your money. You should be saving your
Mm.
money. All
Yeah.
I thought about was new clothes,
New
makeup,
clothes.
and
Yeah.
having a good time. That's
Right. Right.
all I thought about, just
Yeah.
living for today.
Right.
That was my mentality.
Yeah.
I look back and I could see how foolish I was.
Right.
And I wished, and I was living at home. That was the
Mm.
crazy thing.
Yeah.
And my
Right.
mom wasn't charging me any rent or anything
hmm
like that. I
hmm
had it made in the shade. But I
hmm
was too foolish and caught up in
Yeah.
wanting to have the latest fashion. Now,
Right.
those clothes that I was buying, who would wear them now?
Right. Right. Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Seeing
And
the
and that
value
goes
in
back
what
to
we
our
do.
first question, right? Understanding our why is it that you thought it necessary? Why you needed even
Wanted to
to
be listen, trends.
right?
Everyone,
Yeah.
when you're younger, you want to wear the
Yeah.
latest style because you want
Yeah.
to be trendy. You want to
Yeah.
be trendy like all the other young people. And
Exactly.
trends, they die out. There's
Yeah.
always a new trend.
And
It's
guess
like
what?
it's not worth
Friends
it.
friends die out. So the same friends that you were trying to maintain, or friend
Wait,
groups that
this
you're trying to
wasn't
get
even
into.
about friends. I wanted to wear the latest styles.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to wear my hair in the latest styles, the
Mhm.
latest. You remember when they had like the salt and pepper earrings,
Mhm. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
remember all those
Yeah.
styles. You just wanted
Mhm.
to be a part
Mhm.
of fashion.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So, but I look back now and
Mhm.
I'm not saying I wouldn't have made purchases and enjoyed the fashions, because I think back then it was a really cool time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I wish I had done more saving, because
Right.
this is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing worse than knowing bills are due, especially like your rent or your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I don't have this money in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you're falling behind in your mortgage. You're
Right.
2 or 3 months behind. Well, if you can't pay 1 month, how are you going to pay 3 or 4? I mean, you
Right.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
sleepless nights,
Yeah.
your peace is gone because
Yeah.
of these bills. So
Yeah.
I think that we are cheating ourselves. We
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
robbing ourselves when
Mm-hmm.
we don't take care of our financial responsibilities, because
Mm-hmm.
there are some people that, what, I won't pay it this month because I'll pay it next month. I'll catch up next month.
Gotcha.
And it doesn't happen. They
It
just
does not
keep
happen. Yeah.
falling behind.
Yeah.
So talk about peace of mind. It's an
Mm-hmm.
important thing, the
Mm-hmm.
quality of life that it gives
Yeah.
to us. Talk
Yeah.
about peace of mind,
I,
Andrew.
uh, again, I'm looking at this question, and of course, Bree, I'm always having to, because I'm a Christian, I always have to look at, you know, what is God saying to me in this moment, in this,
Yes.
in this question. Um, so so you would find again, that individual who is spending their money for whatever reason, but come the appointed time to pay bills, whatever is necessary, the school fees, the credit cards, the grocery, whatever is mandatory, whatever is essential, and we have to put this in for the Christian group, because I always have to mention tithes and offering. What happens is, when that appointment comes and they don't have the full amount, or they only have a certain amount, but they have more bills than money, um, what happens? So, so, so you're finding um, that the person, let's say the Christian, whose initial um, thought is, what, like you said, I need to catch up. So I'm not going to pay this bill, but I'm going to pay half of this one, and then I will catch up on this one next month. So the Christian is going to say, well, okay, I'm not going to return my tithes and offering, but I'm going to use it, right? Because God don't need my money, So they're rationalizing it in their head so that they can feel better about themselves. So I'm going to use that to pay this other thing, and then I'll make up next month. I'll pay double tithe, or at the end of the year, I'll just whatever. Um, so, so you will find um, there's this verse, Bree, um, uh, like Hebrews chapter 13, 5, verses 5 and 6, right in that, right there. The author is saying, um, uh, don't let the love of money be found in you. Um, so what he wants is for us to live with godly contentment, and if you had that initially, you would not find yourself in this bind now, because all of this unnecessary spending you would have done before. You would have allocated your money, and you would have had all your money set aside to meet all of your needs, right? But because uh, what you do is you're putting yourself on the throne, so you are your own provider until you end up into trouble, and now you're running to God to say, God, bail me out. You want to put God back on the throne. So God allows you, right, he allows you to have your way because he knows that you're going to fall, and he wants to show you that trust the Lord's commandments. Trust when he says right there in Hebrews 13, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So you have to, as a Christian, that has to be.
I want to welcome Sophia. Thank you so much for tuning in, Sophia. Really appreciate it.
Right. So
whether you're a Christian or not,
yeah,
I have to emphasize, whether you're a Christian or not, everyone wants peace of mind.
right.
No one wants to be stressed out. You
Right.
think of all these people who were laid off, they were not expecting it.
No.
That money may not be saved up.
Mm-hmm.
The mortgages there. I read about a gentleman who had just bought a home. He said they had just paid one mortgage.
Yeah. There are many people that would be
their home.
suffering.
So many people in this kind of predicament right now. Yeah. So the point that I would like to get across is that, look, it's, which is leading to my next question. Is God against us having nice things? I don't think God is against us having nice things, wanting a new home or whatever. But I do think he wants us to be wise. He wants us to be mindful of our spending. He wants us to, listen, if I know that my friends are going on a trip, and I know in my heart I can't afford that trip, I know if I go on that trip, I won't be able to pay my rent. I won't be able to pay the mortgage. There are some decisions that we have to make. They're not easy, but guess what? I think when we learn to make sacrifices, eventually we will be able to do the things that we want to do. Because I don't think God is against us having fun, wanting to buy things. I think it's, I like this.
God created pleasure. God created all these nice things. He wants us to enjoy them. But again, he wants us to do it in a wise manner.
Wise way. We can't have everything, because that's one of the things I remember being told as a child. You can't have everything.
Right.
My mom didn't have a problem with saying no. You could try. It didn't mean anything.
Right.
But it's like, as I got older, I had an understanding. There were times when maybe she just couldn't afford it. But when she was able to afford it, then she would give it to us. Right. But then as I've gotten older, I realized that there are times you have to say no. Right. If you give a child everything, they will not have an appreciation for anything. They don't understand the struggle that went into purchasing certain things, so wisdom plays a large role.
But one of the lessons life is trying to teach all of us, and what God is trying to teach us is that he wants to be the source of our joy. He wants to be the source of our happiness. And what happens is when we have the wrong relationship with money, when we make money our own safety net, independent of God, because we are like, what? Just in case God doesn't come through for me, at least I'm going to have this X amount in my 401k or in Chase or in Wells Fargo or whatever the case may be. So we're doing that whole, creating our own Tower of Babel, right? By using money in that sense.
Sophia has a comment here. I'm not cutting you off. It says fiscal responsibility is critical, but we must walk by faith and trust God when the unexpected layoff, etc., happens. And I totally agree with you on that, Sophia. I definitely do. Let's talk about.
It was unexpected to us, but it wasn't unexpected to God. So God has a plan to provide for our needs. We just have to trust him. And the problem is, if you weren't trusting him when you had plenty, it's very hard to trust him now when you have nothing.
Well, let's talk about this. just because you make a lot of money, it doesn't
Mhm.
mean you have to spend every penny of it. You
Right.
know, because there are people who are making really good money who are still living paycheck to paycheck.
Exactly.
And those
Exactly.
who are not making a whole lot and they're still able to save. But
Right.
you hear about these people. I remember years ago hearing about this lady who she washed clothes for a living.
Mhm.
When she died, she
Mhm.
left all this money to a
Yes.
university. People were shocked,
Yes.
you know.
Exactly.
So it
Yeah.
just
Right.
goes to show it's what you
It's
do
not
with
the amount.
it's
It's
what
not.
you do with it.
It's what you do with it.
It's
It's
what
your
you do with it.
relationship with it. So
Yes.
so yeah, so yes. I mean, it's we will always get in that problem, get into some problem when we have that love of money, when we're dependent on it, uh,
Sometimes,
to the
Andrew,
point of
sometimes I don't know if it's necessarily a love of money. Sometimes it's just people being careless. Sometimes it's people being irresponsible.
yeah.
I mean, that's just my personal opinion. We
Well,
have a few
well,
questions
well,
left, and we have like 15 minutes. So I
yeah,
want to.
well, see, the love of money is not necessarily the way we always only interpret it, right? It it's having that wrong relationship with that
Yes.
money, that falls under the umbrella of love of money, really. So that's one of the things, that one of the takeaways that I got this week as I was preparing for it, that it is not just the love of money in terms of someone being greedy only for money, but someone that is foolish with really.
Okay, so our attitude towards paying bills.
Mhm.
How important is our attitude? Something I have learned, and you can tell me what you think.
Mhm.
I remember every time, like, oh my God, it's almost time for me to pay my rent again.
Right.
That's the feeling. I would have
Mhm.
anxiety about
Mhm.
it. Then I
Mhm.
would be like, oh my gosh, but I also
Mhm.
have to pay this and I have to pay that.
Mhm.
And then what I did was I found an app where I was
Okay.
able to put in the dates and the amount of each bill.
Uh-huh.
So that helped me to keep control of everything,
Right.
check it on a weekly basis.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
then I got to the point where, like what Sophia said earlier, and you said it earlier too, about trusting God.
Mhm.
I had to learn about trusting God for his provision.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
had to learn too to have like, what? I had to learn, like when I paid my rent, Lord, thank you that I was able to pay my rent. You
Right.
know, I'm so thankful I was able to pay this bill.
Mhm.
Instead of having that attitude like, oh, like hating to turn the money over, you
Mhm.
know, hated, but it's like, you know what? I got a service, I got whatever it is, a roof over my head,
Right.
working, and I'm paying for it. So I thank the Lord for it. And that
Mhm. Mhm.
really, gratitude does go a long
Gratitude.
way, like
Right.
they say.
Mhm.
And it turned everything around for me. But I
Right.
think in that grudgeful manner, like,
Mhm.
not wanting to pay or being stressed out all the time,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
like really learning to lean on God and trust in God. I think we have to learn to lean on God and trust God whether we have money or not.
Right.
Whether
Right.
we have money or not, it's
Mhm.
doing when we try to do things in our own strength, and that's one of the things I'm learning too.
Right.
In on this financial journey, it's
Mhm.
like, what? You do have to lean on God. You can work all the hours that God sends, you still have to lean on God. You still
Right.
have to trust God. So that's
Right.
one of my big lessons on that. What is
Mhm.
your take on the attitude that we have towards paying bills?
Uh, uh, I think, you know, like we have said, we it comes down to discipline and accountability. Um, uh, you have to give unto Caesar what is Caesar, and give to God what is God. This what we're talking about is nothing new. The disciples and the Pharisees, they were trying to do the same thing with God back then. Uh, we have a responsibility to the government, whether local, or whatever. So we have to pay our bills. There's no two ways about it. It is the righteous thing to do. It is the godly thing to do. It is the Christian thing to do. So uh, go out there, work, right? Because as this, as we the proverb that you mentioned about the lazy hands, that you're going to go hungry. So you have to work and you have to account and make provisions to pay your bills. And like you said, have have a spirit of gratitude, because it is God who gave you the ability, the power, the strength, whether you are a Christian or a non-Christian. It is God who is giving all of us the ability to go out there and to work. So we should have a sense of gratitude, and what that does, and I would say not just gratitude, but a sense of generosity, because uh, when when you are not only just thankful to God for what He has given you, the ability to work and to do what you have to, but then when you take that next step and you show some gratitude by now investing into your neighbor, into your community, um, the more you give, which is counter to the world, but the more you give is the more you get. So by investing into others, chances are when you need something, you'll find that in your moment of need, um, something, that miracle, your basket is going to be filled because you were constantly sowing into someone else's basket. It will cut that goodwill will come around to you. So that's the discipline that God.
And I'm glad you brought up the word discipline, because I think one of the things I'm learning now, like about paying bills on time,
Mhm,
it's becoming discipline
mhm.
where I'm not going to say, okay, I'm only going to pay half here,
Right.
pay the next half. It's like paying the whole thing, getting it over and done with.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's an important lesson for children to learn,
Mhm.
to pay bills on time, not
Yeah.
putting it off for it to double, because that's when I think we start to fall. So I
Right.
think it's very important. Let's talk
Yeah.
about waking up to reality.
Mhm,
Those who realize, you know what, I really don't have any savings.
mhm,
I don't, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I should be.
mhm,
I tied in with the question of making necessary plans.
mhm.
What are some of the things that we can do if we find that, you know what, I really want to get my act together?
Well,
Does it begin like personally? I'm glad I did this no spending challenge
that's exactly what I would say.
because
Your
it
first step
taught me a lot. Sophia saying good point about paying on time. Sophia,
yeah,
let me tell you, having that app was a game changer for me
yeah,
because I started to become very disciplined about paying on time, but
pay your bills.
learning
Yeah.
not to spend unnecessarily,
Mhm,
because I look back and I wasn't spending thousands of dollars, but the money I was spending on these online purchases
mhm.
was money that I could have used to pay
Right.
on bills. I
Right.
noticed, like I said, I'm not making the minimum payments on my cards now. I'm
Mhm.
paying more because it's like I want to get these things off my back. So
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
it's just the lessons learned, but it's not been an easy journey. So what's your take on all of that,
Um,
Andrew? Waking up to
my
reality, making the
first
necessary
recommendation,
plans.
my first recommendation is to look at a topic like this for for your life, and no buy challenge. Uh, Itemize, just like what you're saying, where you where you load up your cart, your online cart, with all these items. That's a good start, because now you have the ability now, to say, okay, you can step back and you can say, okay, it's in my cart. I
Yes,
have to purchase it. I can now
right.
say, do I really need that thing? Is that really a want or
Exactly.
a need? And as as the the hours turn into days, and you're able to reflect. You may say, you know what, I'm going to take it out. Or you know what, you may say, I'm going to let it remain in the card until I know with some websites, they will give you a notification if a sale comes upon that item, and then you can say, okay, I cannot purchase it because it is now on sale, right?
Yes.
So you don't have to do that impulsive buying. You can let that item remain in your cart, and you can dwell on it. One, do I really need it, or I can wait until it goes on sale. So
Yes.
so that's a good starter. A good starter also is not just looking on your bank statement, not just eyeballing it, but doing your own reconciliation statement by looking at how much money is your income, put that in one column, itemize all of your expenses, go through that. The same amount of time you're spending scrolling Facebook, Instagram, whatever, you just take 10 minutes out of each day. Before you go to bed, you itemize, put all of your utilities, all of the bills, everything, itemize it. And that allows you, just the fact of writing it,
Yes.
as opposed to just looking on it electronically, that does something to your brain. It brings it more into focus. It puts it more, it imprints it on your mind. There's more clarity there because you are now thinking about it and you have written it. It's now more permanent and more, I'm not even quite sure what the word is, but it's there. It's real, as opposed to just it's a maybe thing. I don't have to pay. No, this is your bill. This is what you owe. This is the balance. This is the monthly payment. And then once you itemize all of that, then you can see where your money is going, and you can say, okay, you know what? Really, I'm sure I'm only coming in and bringing in 100, but I have to put out 180. Something is wrong with this math. So now it's going to force you to go in and say, okay, I am doing all these. I'm leaving the house in the morning and I'm going to the coffee cart, or I'm going to Starbucks and I'm doing all of this spending. Do I really need to do that?
That's
Can't
right.
I just make something at home and bring it in?
Yes.
So think about all. So you're thinking about all of that, where you can cut back, and what happens is we get into these credit cards and our cable. They like to tell you in a customer service transaction, oh, we'll give you this for free 6 months or 3 months, whatever, and you don't realize, oh, well, I'm getting HBO, or I'm getting Hulu for free and whatever. Yeah, for 3 months and then you realize that there's this little thing going through your statement every month, $2.99, $6.99. These reoccurring expenses just eating away slowly. You can now see it now, and you can say, oh, I can cancel these subscriptions. I don't need it. The boyfriend left you, and he had ESPN and he had all of whatever, and now he's gone and you're still paying for it. No, you can catch all these things, right? So doing that whole financial planning, doing a budget, investing in a no-buy. It
makes a difference. I mean, if you're taking in lunch, like you mentioned, coffee, you can make coffee at home. You can take your lunch to work.
Yeah.
The fast food or whatever it is you're eating on the weekend, or if let's say you're doing fast food every week, cut it down to once a month.
Exactly. Everybody's life is busy.
Right.
So we're not saying everybody has to cook. No. But you don't have to eat out every
especially
day.
if you're in the situation where you have to free up some dollars, then you
Exactly.
have no choice. I mean, you really
Yeah.
have to make
Maybe
it,
you just have to cut it
you
off
have to do
completely.
it. I
Yes.
tell you, on YouTube, when after watching this video, the no buy, there were
I was
several
impressed.
others. And there was one, like they have people who like, they're like, hey, if you only have $20 to spend on groceries,
Hmm.
these are the products to buy. These are the
Hmm.
dishes you can prepare. If your
Right.
budget
Yeah.
is $50, they have all, I'm telling you,
There
people
are
who
meal
are putting
plans.
these
Yes.
things
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
like, utilize these channels.
right. So it's not just a meal plan, but in terms of thrift stores, um, how to change your closet, um, so it can become an income for you. So instead of your closet just sucking your money, just being a drain, right? You can now turn around and you can now say, you know what, I haven't been wearing these particular items. I can now put them up for sale. So you can now turn your income, your closet into a source of income. So
Yeah.
so this whole no buy is phenomenal. There are so many aspects
It's
of it.
Andrew, it was just by chance I saw
Yeah,
the video.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Trust me,
this
it
would
was
make a
not by
great
chance, Bree.
episode.
That was God.
That was the grace of God. And
Yes.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, I
Yeah.
really am
Yeah.
thankful I watched the video because
Yeah.
it changed my life.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of hope. You
Yeah.
know, it changed the way I saw money. It empowered me
Yeah.
in many
Right.
ways.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
we.
yeah.
Yeah. Again, and 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 one of the aspects, what I liked about when they were uh, categorizing your relationship with money, uh, you can now say, you know what, all this buying that I was doing, like really, why was I doing this? I was doing this so that I could get some amount of happiness.
That's what I
Um,
said in the beginning of the
right.
podcast. My
But when you
emotions were tied to what my purchases.
right, but when you know, but when you look at it and you read it and you realize that, wow, then if I was happy, why did I need to make this other purchase again? Then maybe this spending is not really providing the happiness like what these
It's
companies are
not,
trying.
because
So
the more you buy, it's a temporary fix. Like I said,
exactly,
coming home,
yeah,
seeing the little boxes, you open
you're
the
right,
box, and then the
yeah.
next day
The
it's
hormones start
over.
to fire
Yeah,
off, and
yeah.
exactly. So it's really it's not happiness, it's not joy, which is a more internal thing. It's more pleasure.
I called it a pick me up because
Right.
that's
Yeah.
basically what it was for me. A little
Yeah.
pick me up. You know, I
Right.
can't say, "Oh, I'm so happy," or what. No, it was a pick me up.
Yeah.
But I will say
But
there
it
are
never truly satisfies.
no, because it's
You
like
have to
guess
come
what?
back to it. Yes. Yeah.
When I ask myself the question, do I
Mhm.
need this?
Yeah.
Do I want this? I
Mhm.
feel empowered. That makes me feel
Right.
happy. You know,
Right.
because I feel like, you know what?
You
I'm
are in
making
charge now.
smarter choices. Yes.
Mhm.
Now, I will say the other day, I needed a new phone for over a year. And I was like, I kept putting it off until I couldn't put it off anymore.
Mhm.
Then my headphones couldn't fit in this new phone. So I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh. But I got a wireless set that was on sale. And
Mhm.
I love them because it's like
Right.
they're wireless. I don't have to, I can walk around,
Yeah.
and it's made it so I'm like, there are some purchases that are great,
Mhm.
but it's like
Mhm.
I'm very careful now
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
I spend my next step is when I'm doing my groceries now,
Mhm.
reevaluating what I spend on groceries. That's my
Yeah.
next,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the viewers will get their pen and paper and,
Yeah.
watch some of these videos and rethink. I think I don't care how much money you make. I think we all can,
Yeah.
benefit from something like this.
Uh, 100%. A hundred
What are your
percent.
closing thoughts, Andrew?
Um, closing thoughts. So, Bree, I would say my takeaway, what I got from this is, we have to be more reflective. We have to understand our own behavior habits, our relationship with money. That's a starter. For me as a Christian, I realize that that God wants us to use money as a tool.
Yes.
Money is a tool.
Yes.
It is not our source of happiness. God, that is God. But He gave us the ability to make money, these resources, to help the body of Christ. That is what money is. So none of us should be poor or lacking, because I have a brother who will invest in my lack at this time, and then the next time around, when he is in that position, that comes around to him. So that is what I have come to understand, that my relationship with money is that I should have it, and it should be a tool to better the life of the body of Christ.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And I one of the things I've learned is that hole in the soul that we talk about, that missing piece,
That
that
void.
can only come from God. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, that can only come from God. There's no
Yes.
material possession, there's no
Alcohol,
man or woman,
sex,
no vice out there that
nothing.
can
No.
fulfill that need.
Yeah.
That can only
Yeah.
come from God.
Yes.
So this no buy challenge really did help me.
Yes. Yeah.
Not saying I didn't have weak moments, but it's been good.
I have a question for you now. So on that, have you decided to make it a lifestyle now that you're entering into March? So initially you were only doing it for like 30 days.
For
but
January.
Right.
Now I've set a budget. So
Right.
I'm like, you know what? I was no more than $100.
Right.
No more than 100.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
think, and the thing, but this is the thing, just because I have that $100 budget
Mhm.
doesn't mean I have to use it.
Right.
Because
And even
I
if you
will-
go over, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, because
Right.
nobody, the idea is not no by hard strict, like
Yes.
if you go over on it's the end of the world. No, but that's your North Star now.
Right, because you know
Yeah.
what, it's given me something to think about. Like I
Yeah.
said, every time I make a purchase, do
Mhm.
I need it? Do I
Right.
want it? And
Exactly.
I tell you what, it's changed.
Mhm.
It's changed me in so
Right.
many ways, because
Yeah.
now it's like, you know what, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll wait until the end of the week and see
Right.
if I still want it. So
Exactly.
that
So
it's
you have the power now. You have the power now. So that makes you, so now you can walk away with some swag now. You don't have to feel down and depressed and anxiety ridden, because it was coming at you and you weren't in control. But now you have the power. So that makes you feel better about yourself.
I think it's a good thing when we
Yeah.
evaluate. Sometimes we
Yeah.
have to reevaluate our lives,
Mhm.
why
Mhm.
we're doing the things that we
Yeah.
are.
Exactly.
So our next topic that we'll cover when you come back
Mhm.
will be, we talked about emotional eating. That's what I
Yeah,
want
right.
to cover
Yeah.
next,
Yeah.
because our emotions play such a deep role into
Mhm.
a lot of our behaviors that we don't
Right.
even give a second thought.
Exactly.
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that the viewers enjoyed this topic and got
Yes.
something out of it.
Yeah.
Andrew, I appreciate your willingness to do
Mhm.
this, because when I sent it to you, I was like,
Yeah, I was thrown. Yeah, I was, but hey, once I got into it, I was like, okay, this is good. This is good.
Yes,
Good
this
stuff.
is
Yeah.
really a good thing. And
Yeah.
there are people just letting you know that they're like it's become a lifestyle.
Yes.
People
Yes.
are like they're doing it for the year, or this is how they choose to live now.
Exactly. And it's the same concept with losing weight as opposed to dieting and as opposed to taking on something as this is your new lifestyle. That's when you have long lasting um, changes instead of this seesaw. You lose
Yes.
10 pounds, then you gain 30. So it's not a diet where you're just doing it for a particular time, but when you make it a lifestyle, uh, it's you get much more out of it. So there's no buy. You can start it for 30 days, but if you're really serious about it, you can have long lasting, uh, profitable, healthy relationship with your household because
Yes.
finances ruin a lot of households,
A
right?
lot, a lot, a
Exactly.
lot. And
Yeah.
that's another thing I would like us to cover eventually,
Yeah.
you know, couples and the financial struggles, that
Right.
sometimes couples are not compatible in that area.
Yeah.
One's
So,
a
so
spender,
this, yeah,
the other's a saver.
yeah.
That can
This
cause
will
a lot of
save. This
friction.
will save a lot of marriages.
Well,
Yeah.
Sophia said good podcast, great podcast, good
Yeah.
information. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Thanks,
being here.
guys.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
like I
Amen.
said, Andrew, thank you
Yeah.
for doing this. I know sometimes when I send you topics, you're like, where's she going with this? But I appreciate
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
do. So I'm looking forward to us covering emotional eating because I
Mhm.
think this is the next step.
Amen. Amen.
Right.
Thanks again.
Take care, everyone. God bless and
God
have a
bless.
wonderful week.
Amen. Amen.